culture of capture for almost 30 years. We've been capturing over 3,000 hours of video content for all of our core required courses in the School of Medicine, and we've been making those available to students in a variety of formats, and these are the formats that you see. I think the key thing here is that although we had a culture of capture, we had a culture of closed. So all of this content was given to students in a very closed environment, in very closed formats. And so our idea was to begin to foster a conversation around open content and open video. In order to tell you this story, though, I really need to introduce you to the key sort of hero of our story, and this is Pat, the videotape. And Pat represents all of the content that we've been capturing over the past few years, and we're going to go ahead and roll back to the 1980s when Pat was on VHS tape, and this was his story in the 1980s.
I'm just a film, yes, I'm only a film, and I'll never be seen again. Right now I'm locked away in a proprietary format with no other way for me to be looked at, but I know I'll be open someday. At least I hope and pray that I will, but today I'm still just a film.
That's poor Pat, and that was Pat. Remember that, because we're going to ask you to sing along. So that was Pat, and Pat actually sat on library shelves for a number of years and was checked out to students on a regular basis, one at a time, if they missed class or were doing research. And actually, at that point in time, although we had all of this content, we had
no policies, no archiving, no distribution, and of course, no plan.
And in fact, we used to throw Pat away at the end of every quarter, get new VHS stock, and just go ahead and continue taping. So from the 1980s, we have zero amount of that content that we captured over those number of years. But in 1997, Pat got a new life, and we began streaming him via reel. And that way, students didn't have to come to the library anymore, and they could watch him at any time, anywhere, as long as they had an internet connection. And that meant that we had very, very happy students, and we had a happy Pat. But what we didn't have were happy faculty. In fact, we had very anxious faculty. And they began saying things like,
I don't want my lectures on the internet.
what about copyright and fair use?
You mean they will exist forever?
What if the student steals it?
What about my intellectual property?
What if the student shares it with a friend? And all of these questions that they had over and over again ended up putting Pat basically locked away in this is our dungeon. So Pat was locked away in the dungeon for probably about 10 years. And by that I mean, again, that we had this closed culture of video, and we still had
No policies, no archiving, no distribution, and of course, no plan.
In 2007, however, Dean Piso, who we're calling here King Piso, decided to build a new castle. And this castle was actually an educational castle where, because we've been capturing for many, many years, a big tenet of this castle was that we were going to have video from anywhere to anywhere. And instead of 3,000 hours worth of video, we were going to be capturing 6,000 or 9,000 hours worth of video a year. But that still meant at this point that Pat was locked away darkly in the dungeon down beneath. And we still had
No policies, no archiving, no distribution, and of course, no plan.
it was a very sad state of affairs until we were lucky enough, I should say, to hire a knight in shining armor here, standing before you now, Sandsword, Andy, who began citing things like
Open media, open courseware, open content, open source, open standards, open formats, open licensing, open everything.
which was actually quite frightening for us to think about the idea of opening everything, especially when we had faculty members who were thinking about closed content all over the place. And so at that point, we really needed to begin the policy and conversation. conversation with our faculty about what it would mean as we were building this building, capturing this content, and providing them with the opportunity to open their content to the world. So that really started with just education and discussion. We started sitting down with faculty members to hear their concerns. I know we were making fun of them a little earlier, but they had some valid questions and concerns, and we wanted to understand what they were and find ways to address them. We wanted to engage with them in an open dialogue. And one of the key things that we did, honestly, was partner with our university council to have conversations around intellectual property right and copyright, and bring these things into the vocabulary of the faculty members so that they actually sort of understood what was okay and what was not if they were choosing to open their content. At the same time, we began conversations around releases and rights. Believe it or not, for the probably first 15 years of our video capture, no one signed a thing. We just walked in, turned on a video camera, and that was it. So we started looking at what kinds of releases and rights we were going to give our faculty members. The university media release is actually quite restrictive. It gave the university the right to not only the copyright, but make money off of the faculty members' content and redistribute it in any way they wanted. That was not something that was acceptable to our faculty members, reasonably so. And again, we began to work with our university council's office to create a School of Medicine release. This School of Medicine release did not allow the university to make money off of it, and it also allowed the faculty members to revoke their ability for us to serve it up. In other words, for them it was really important, especially in the field of medicine, that if there was content that turned out to be outdated, or if perhaps they misspoke in a lecture, that they had the right to ask for us to take it down. And it seems like an obvious thing, but in the university's media release, that would not have necessarily been the case. The university would have been smart to take it down, but they didn't have to take it down. And then finally, with the new system that we have in place, faculty members have the ability to actually completely open their content using a Creative Commons licensing. And with the click of a button, actually, when they log in, they can choose whether or not to use the University School of Medicine release or the Creative Commons release. At the same time, faculty were worried about what students were thinking and doing with their content. Once we moved poor Pat off of Reel, we actually made him downloadable, and this actually made our faculty even more anxious because that meant that students were walking around with their content on their laptop, and God forbid, maybe they might actually put it up on YouTube. The truth is that that actually did happen when we were still doing it with Reel. We had a student who ripped all of the videos from the Reel stream. He put it up on an open server. I'm sure he was just trying to help his classmates give them downloadable formatted media. But actually that content was up and available for anyone to download. And so obviously, I think you can see that the faculty were concerned. So what we wanted to do was educate the students as well. And you can see that what we did was create a policy that covered all of these particular issues. And I'm not going to read it here for you today, but this is the policy. I think the key thing here is that what we were doing was telling students what they could do with the media. We actually came up with icons to mark each one of the slides and lectures so that students know whether or not this is open content, whether they can share it with a friend who's in the same class, or whether it's really only for their use, period. And then we gave it some teeth. And so if students actually violate the policy, they can be brought up for disciplinary action. We've never had to do that because once we did the education, I think students were actually really happy to sort of comply with what faculty were hoping would be appropriate use, if that's the case. So, and then finally, archiving, and I'm sure many of you are dealing with the same thing. How long do you keep it? Who decides? And how do you retrieve it once it's archived? For us, we actually our team doesn't make that decision, which is really kind of nice. The people who make that decision is the Committee on Curriculum and Academic Policy and the library. So we currently keep our content for about 4 years, and then it's reviewed, and certain pieces of content are deep archived, but that decision is made by the appropriate people, and then it's delivered again by the appropriate people. So retrieval is through the library for any of the deep archive stuff. So that was the policy, and this part is the plan on the technology side.
really what we started from the beginning was looking at designing a flexible system that promoted the sharing of content by reducing the complexity of licensing, encoding, and distribution. And we aptly named it Media Flow. So you can see Media Flow actually covers this entire space here that's listed, so it's across 5 stories, 120,000 square foot facility. So what is Media Flow? Media Flow is a set of integrated hardware and software components that allow us to simultaneously capture, control, format, and process AV content generated in every educational space within our facility, and distribute to multiple channels, all automatically, without any human intervention. You can see here some of the pictures of some of the hardware that we have been designing and integrating over the past couple of years. What makes up Media Flow? Media Flow is quite a complex system. It has over 500